Welcome to Wellness and Wonder for another episode number 20. Today we are going to discuss about hypnosis. We often talk or wonder about what hypnosis is. So obviously it generally does not manifest a cautious approach, but although it's supported by a strong and internal curiosity. Hypnosis is a procedure in which we changes our sensations, perceptions, thoughts, and behavior, and they are experienced and induce relaxation and calmness. Hypnosis psychotherapy, however, is not just a mere administration of suggestions, but a real re-education of the patient's adaptation to life and to integrations of his personality into it. So the goal of hypnosis is to resolve conflicts and discomforts and acquire biological and spiritual resources that allow the subject to evolve. And today I have the pleasure to interview David Boulet, who very well known as David Mears. David was able, thanks to his melodies and vibrations, to make the community dream even in the desert. And now, after specializing in hypnotherapy, he cures people from their obsessions and addictions. Ciao, David.
Ciao. Ciao, Francesca.
It's so nice to see you. I'm
Thank
so
you for
proud
having
of your
me.
work.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And that was a good introduction to hypnosis.
Thank you. Well, I've been studying a lot about your techniques. I've been watching your videos, so I know you are an expert now, and I'm glad to bring you at Wellness and Wonder because people should know more about hypnosis, like we said. So please, first, because I would love people to know you, David, of course, your career is so much more than this, and your experience of life in every terms is quite deep and sensational. So if you want to say a bit of you first before talking about hypnosis.
Yes, I can talk about how I got into hypnosis and what it has bring into my life and all the little thing.
Yeah.
So, I grew up in south of France, and I went through high school in south of France, and then I studied law in south of France and Paris. Yeah. And when I was at university, I started to change a lot of things into my life. I welcomed art, and I started slowly, just to change, and it's at this moment where I started to experience being more in experience sleeping paralysia,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's not a disorder, but it's a phenomenon that happens usually when we get into sleep or when we get out of sleep. It's called paralysia hypnopompic, actually. So because hypno relates to sleep, actually. Hypnosis, it's something that is related to sleep and the state where we are when we sleep.
Yes.
So I started to experience sleeping paralysia, and it's basically, for anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's a moment where we get out of a dream or get into a dream. It means that we are being conscious but also dreaming at the same time. Like both worlds kind of start to melt, and because the dreaming mode blocks us from moving, it blocks our nervous system from moving. That's why we're not acting out our dreams. We are actually paralyzed, like, yes. For example, and people who do somnambulation, they're not dreaming. This is a myth, Yeah. But when we dream, we can't move. So sleeping paralysia is when you are becoming conscious that you can't move. So it's a lot of discomfort, and it's very scary. Some people thought during a long time that it's had to do with spirits and any kind of stuff. But it's just in your brain. It's just a dysfunction, kind of. Dysfunction. It's like you are waking up before you're supposed to wake up,
Yes,
but it was very disturbing because I was doing a lot, like 3 times a week. So I went into lucid dreaming, basically.
Yeah.
I started to work with lucid dreaming, and that really helped me go through it, and that really like cured me. As soon as I started to understand dreams better, I got cured of it, and that opened the world of altered state of consciousness. So I started to study it by myself, neurobiology, everything that is the chemistry of the conscious mind, and how the brain functions when we are sleeping, when we are conscious, when we are working, when we are dreaming, when we are daydreaming, how it works. And when we are meditating, and naturally you get interested into hypnosis, and I got really fascinated, and that's how I started doing it. And
also you have been noticing the results through hypnosis that you had within yourself. So because you experienced it, now you are able actually to get people through it, because how would you be able to start this?
Yes. And also I was able to do it on myself first by understanding how it works, because it's not magical, and it's scientifically logical that it happens,
Yeah.
So when you understand it, it's really easy to notice it happening inside of you while doing it,
Yes.
But it's also nice to do it to someone who doesn't know, because also the belief that it's magic, kind of, or not knowing how it works, it also creates hypnosis. It's very subtle. It's very subtle. But yeah. And I get
So when I've been looking at your therapies online, and I've been, of course, deepen also my studies, because I find it very fascinating. And I studied that there are many different techniques, and it is about visualization, regression, progression. So David, if you want to start, let's start talking. Let's give an example about this amazing technique that is called hypnosis.
Yes. So what I love to do, what I like to do now is rapid hypnosis. It was created by Dr. Dave Ellman to help doctors and surgeons to hypnotize people, to give anesthesia, and then it opened the door to a lot of therapy. And it works very fast. It works with first relaxation of the body, like pretty much instant relaxation of the body, and then relaxation of the mind, and then
sorry if I interrupt you, David, but how do you bring people to this state of calmness with your
that's perfect. That's perfect.
From the beginning.
So yes.
Questions as soon as you start talking. Sorry if I will interrupt you. But as soon as we explain techniques, I will ask you questions so we know deeply.
It's very easy, actually. It's like usually people just sit, being comfortable into a chair, and start breathing. Breathing is really important. There are a lot of breathworks therapies that only work with breathing, because you can release anything, trauma, whatever.
Yeah.
So usually I use breathing.
Amazing.
Breathing, expanding exhales, that relaxes your body. That oxygenates the body, because in order to oxygenate the body, you need to lower the oxygen level. It's kind of like the opposite, but that's how it works, because then the cells receive it, and that relaxes everything.
Yes.
So you can just breathe in, breathe out, and just picture everything drop down, just picture everything drops to the floor calmly. And as soon as you do that, you will experience it. You will experience getting warmer and all these things. You just need to let it happen. So I'm sure it's already happening,
It's true. You have to let it happen. I love this, because people they just have to let go. And while breathing, the breathing technique is unbelievable.
Yes, you can breathe, and you can visualize also, like cells dropping. It works with, and I give these suggestions to people, and they follow it. Yeah. And they get relaxed.
Yeah.
The body is designed to enjoy relaxation, you know. So it's not something you're gonna fight, you know. You're not nobody is gonna no one is going to fight relaxation. Everyone wants to be relaxed, you know.
Yes.
You know, I mean, at this moment where I do the therapy, you know, everyone, it's not like I worked in kitchen as well, you know. You don't want to be relaxed in the kitchen. You want to be like, you
Yeah.
know, you want to be on, you know. You don't want to be on. You don't want to be like that, you know. So
Yeah.
there are time and situations for everything, and in during the therapy, people want to be relaxed. So just the fact to want it, make it happen, and when it starts to happen, they just drop. And they let it. Every time I give them a suggestion, they will receive it. You know, if I tell you to double your relaxation, you will feel like your relaxation gets doubled because you want it to happen. So it does happen, and from that, there's like from there we use the physiology of the body to relax the mind already, you know.
Yes.
It's like if you relax the body, you will relax the mind, because it is connected. You know, when you say fake it till you make it, if you fake being relaxed, your body, it's gonna send the information to your brain to relax as well, you know.
Yes.
No one, it's very rare to find someone very relaxed and at the same time very active, you know. You know, for example, very rare. It doesn't add up. Or someone very chill but also like very nervous, you know, in the mind. It's totally, so it's linked, you know. So if you relax the mind, it sends the information for the body to relax, and from there, the right chemicals are being triggered, and you're already starting to induce trance. And all I do is give indications.
Amazing. So there must be a very deep, trustworthy connection between you and your guests. So
yes,
trust you. It's very important, and they should be also open to this technique, because otherwise they refrain their openness.
Exactly. That's why I always start sessions by explaining exactly what is going to happen, how it's going to happen, and why it is happening this way. You know?
Yeah.
Like I always everybody thinks that the like when you give hypnosis, you put someone under a spell and you have like total control. It's like it's basically the opposite. It's the opposite that's happened. I give you suggestions, you follow them or not. If you want to follow them, that's great, we can work. But it's a very active process of learning, you know. It's like you're not as conscious, because obviously if you're here with me doing hypnosis, it means that consciously you can't solve your problem, you know. So what we want is to put conscious mind there, because the conscious mind is full of ego. It doesn't understand things. It has a proper mode to function, which is like very deductive, analytical, problem solving, short memory, all this kind of stuff. Very intellectual in that way.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help for certain problems. So we want to trigger all the other parts of your brain where that is much more powerful, much more intelligent to work with, you know.
Yes.
So basically, when you are under hypnosis, you function differently, but you are actually more powerful. You're more resourceful because you have imagination, creativity, long-term memory, emotional intelligence, all these amazing things to work with. So when I put you in hypnosis, you're actually better. You're actually better.
Yes. You are aware, you are better, you are conscious, there is less ego, more more action.
Yes. And why we don't live like that is because the world we live in, the society is designed, is a conscious society. It's like on the conscious level. That's why we don't function this way. But we need both to be happy and to be fully empowered. But we forget that we have the unconscious to work with, and that's what I'm giving to people. So I tell them all these things before, and I build trust, and I build trust. They know they're empowered. They can stop whatever it's happening if they're uncomfortable, and I tell them how it works,
Yes. I believe, David, so after this relaxation moment where we relax and we sense our senses, what's you guide people? So what's your guidance after this first process of hypnosis?
So yeah, you focus. Then the body is relaxed. Okay, the body is relaxed. Then we relax the mind, and usually I use games because the unconscious mind loves games, like the game to forget simple things. Forget simple things like numbers or you see, just talking about it, forgetting it happens in my mind. My mind becomes blank. And it should happen too. That's why it's always so funny to talk about hypnosis, because just talking about it make it happen, because the mind receives it. It's so fascinating. So it's easier than you think.
So powerful.
When you are very relaxed, the mind will want to be relaxed as well. Just the same way, just as if you would clench your fist like that, and then let it drop. And it's the same with the mind. You just let it drop the same way you let your body drop. And like, for example, you can see the alphabet just going away until you're like, by the alphabet, you see blank, and people. And as soon as I do that, I ask them to recite the alphabet, usually backwards, and they can't do it because they don't want to do it the same way. They don't want to move their body, because they're so relaxed and they don't want to make the effort. And that's what we want. And they want to play the game to see what it feels like to forget it. So they just forget things.
Yeah.
Because they want it, and not because I told them to. And I never say people to do anything. I just suggest, and they're like, oh, why not? Like, the trick is to be conscious, is to be curious and playful,
Yes.
Curious with what's going to happen, and playful, like, I can do it. What happens if I do that, And then everything becomes like very enjoyable.
Yes, David, and this is actually a technique that we should use also on our daily life, to take things not too seriously. Like you said, you actually teach people how to see problems with another perspective, letting go, at the same time playing around it instead of feeling the heaviness within them.
Exactly. But it's very hard to do it if we are always conscious, because when we are conscious, we are in survival mode,
Yes.
So everything becomes serious.
It's true.
And creativity, playfulness, all these things. That's why I want to work with children a lot, because children, they have all these things. They're playful, they're creative, they're imaginative, because they don't have the conscious boundaries and frames that we've built up with age. That's the purpose of hypnosis. It's to break these boundaries and construct new ones.
Yes. It's an amazing idea to do this to children. So while they grow up, they won't lose their inner child, and they can still see things in a nice way without feeling. Yeah.
And they would have processed everything themselves right away when it happens, instead of being like us, having repressed everything. Repressed everything inside of us, pushed away, and that's how you get trauma stored inside of you. Pain in your joints, everything, these are trauma that have been pushed away and kept outside because of beliefs, trapped in these beliefs. I shouldn't be like that, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't cry, I shouldn't I shouldn't hug, I shouldn't be.
Yes, all these boundaries we create, they just block us.
Yes. So with hypnosis, that's the whole purpose. You put away your conscious mind, and you just get this resource to break these conscious boundaries.
Yes.
And the trick is playfulness, curiosity, trust, acceptance, and love for yourself,
And love for yourself.
and being, and a lot of compassion. Everything needs to be done with compassion, because, and that's where we are arriving now. When the
Yeah.
conscious mind is relaxed, then I take them down. They usually arrived in a place, and it's a place they love, they feel safe. Sometimes it's like, sometimes it's crazy, sometimes it's like a cloud, sometimes it's a room they've been in, sometimes it's the beach, it's always sunset. So sometimes it's very magical, sometimes it's space, sometimes it's in the ocean.
Yeah.
Crazy, but they feel safe in there, and we,
Yeah.
and we use that space to let to let uh to let their unconscious express itself, just like in a dream, you know, just like in a dream, everything becomes very flexible, malleable, and the more you are relaxed, the more you follow instruction, the more you are empowered to change everything you like in this realm of reality, you know.
Yes,
So now
totally.
we're there, and it's at this moment that for the first time I let them. That's something I do. That's something I do. That's very personal.
Yeah.
But it's only then that I let them express themselves about what they want to change. Because if we do it before,
Yeah.
uh, if we do it before, their conscious mind is going to analyze it, and it's going to be misleading. So now we're here in the unconscious, and they start to connect with that things they want to change, and it's manifesting. It's manifesting first inside their body, and then maybe in images, in their environment. And from there, we can change it. We can go back to the roots. We can go back. We can change it in the past. We can bring it to the present, embody it, transform it into energy, putting it in all the things they love, and do something very positive about it,
Yeah.
and change their mind about it. Change their mind,
Their
you know,
mindset.
literally
Yes.
change their mind.
Yeah.
So that's a method I use a lot. That's a method I use most of the time. And from there, I try to create a narration, because stories are very important. Everybody can relate to stories. If I manage to guide you into creating a whole story around this change, then it's gonna be more impressive. You know, like when you watch a movie, or when you listen to a story you really love, and it changes also your perspective on mind. There's a happy ending, you feel good about it. So I use also this energy of storytelling into the therapy
So important.
to create something whole that has a beginning, an end, a middle, and yeah,
And that has a
it's a
story
big.
behind also, because then it becomes then too practical and too, of course, mystical. But if there is a storytelling, it becomes actually very real for people also to understand.
Yes, very real, and they can
Yeah.
relate, and also just like a story, there's always a moment of conflict, you know, and that's when you bring change. But because we did all the preparation before the talking, if I don't do the talking, they would start to feel uncomfortable welcoming something they want to change. Like if I tell you if I tell you about your self-doubt, you're gonna think about it, and it's gonna create some kind of sensation in your body. You know, that's how the unconscious communicates. You know, if I think about self-doubt, I don't know, I have something in my chest. You know, I have something in my chest. So if I don't do the preparation before, they would start to feel uncomfortable, and they will want to wake up. You know, because that's what the conscious mind is gonna come. Oh my God, no, I don't like that. Push it away. I don't want to see it. But because we did all the preparation, and they welcome this with love and compassion, they just let it bloom, this sensation, and then we can start resolving the conflict, and the conflict is there. And just like in a movie, you know, there's like a fight between there's like a fight. I won't say the bad and the good, but it's more between the negative and the positive in terms of electric charge. You know, everything is like ampered. Everything is electric in the subconscious. There's no good or bad, you know. These are conscious judgments, but we want to change something that is negative and dark into something that is positive and bright, you know, just
Absolutely.
that. So it's just a matter of creativity, and then you can turn all these images into something very strong and symbolic, something that are meaningful to you, and they are gonna create a lot of impression and change. That's and
I agree with you, David. And I just want to mention also my awakening culinary experiences. Why do people feel good? Because of the creativity behind. So like you said now, creativity,
Yes.
like in hypnosis, it's fundamental. I don't think every hypnosis therapeutic method includes creativity, but you include it, which is fantastic, David. And so would you say that this technique is also useful to get out of obsessions and addictions? Or is it more to self-discover who we are? Because there are many different reasons.
No, everything.
You would use
You
it for...
can everything that creates your experience of life,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
can everything that creates your experience of life can be modeled and changed, you know. And I do it for myself for so many things, you know. The first thing I changed with hypnosis was, for example, my obsession of time. I had the feeling I never had time. Like I was doing two things in a day, and I felt like I had no time to do anything.
yeah,
And so I went down, and I connected to the impression I had of time, my vision, and it was this symbol of this sand timer that was going super fast, and wow, I felt so stressed about it. And I just modeled it into something very slow that is almost not moving, turning everything into gold, you know. And I was so in love with this vision that it just became permanent. I didn't stop time, but in my head, time is very slow now, you know. I enjoy things more. I don't have the feeling days are passing like crazy. I mean, kind of, because I enjoy myself. But in a day, I have the feeling I'm doing so much, and I'm full, and I'm not stressed about it. Because if you're stressed about it, that's gonna be your resource. If your resource is stress, then your response to it is going to be stressed, and like
of course. So true.
so it's going to be a circle, you know. It's going to be a circle.
People think that stress can be good to be good at work, to be faster, and to be, but actually just that's the opposite. So
Yes, you need stress. You need stress to react to a situation like on the moment. That's what stress is for, you know.
yes,
But when it becomes implemented into something permanent, like an idea, if you attach stress to an idea, to like a concept, a general concept, like time,
yeah,
like you're fucked, because time is never stopping, you know. It's not something, it's not something you can change on the moment. It's not something you can react to. And that's why a lot of people fall into stress pattern, because they attach stress to the wrong things, you know, to the things that are dangerous, you know,
absolutely.
like relationships, like fear, and stress is becoming fear, or like work, you know, permanent stress work, you know, like I'm gonna get fired, I'm gonna lose my job. These are things that gets you stressed, but stress is made for reacting to 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 sudden events, you know. That's what it is for us to flee. It's made for us to flee somewhere, you know, because we're getting chased by a lion, you know. That's why it's made for. It's not made for being constantly worried about money, you know, because that would eat you. It's not made for that. Our body cannot respond to that, you know. So by using creativity, sometimes it takes like 20 minutes for people to create, it's called symbolic modeling. This is another technique where you take out all the sensations that a certain problem, like for example stress, or for example addiction, like what it means to you. You put it out, and it's often going to be like an object, an energy, a certain thing that, and it's called
Don't worry.
dissociation.
Yes.
You dissociate this thing. This thing becomes, it is part of you, but it's also a foreign object because it is a belief, and then you can either push it out of you or change it into something better. And you can do that with anything you want. Anything that creates your experience of life.
Yeah.
You can turning into something like that and change it.
Because
that's
at the end, the goal is to resolve conflicts and discomforts and acquire biological and spiritual resources, right? So we
yes,
spiritual also.
Yes, totally. Whatever it means to you, you know, if you are someone very spiritual, you know, spiritual is also a belief, you know, spirituality. Everything is a belief, you know, because I was reading something that my friend sent me the other day. They're starting to prove with quantum physics that there is no objective reality, you know. It means that the world we experience is just an addition, a collision of subjective realities. So the best you can do is to shape your reality, right? That's the best you can do. And
spirituality is within us, of course, is not external. So we choose either
exactly
spiritual or not. But spirituality also makes everything more magical because we understand the beauty of life, not just in the material world, but in the spiritual world. So I would say that spirituality is also a secret to be happy, because there is so much more than the material and the real world. There is our soul, the spirits, the connections, the energies.
Yes, exactly. And all the things you build around it, around this concept of spirituality, becomes belief, you know, and all this belief, and beliefs are energy, you know. A belief are energy. If you believe you're good at something, you're gonna become good at something, you know, because thinking you are good brings you energy, you know. You feel empowered. You feel, if you think you're shit at something, you're gonna be shit at something because this resource becomes negative, you know. It's gonna bring you self-doubt. You're gonna self-esteem very low. I think all these beliefs, spirituality is a very strong source of energy. It's like love, you know, like friendship, like passion for all these things are very extremely strong source of energies. And you build them, you nurture them, you cultivate it in your mind, you know. You cultivate this belief, and while doing hypnosis, they manifest, they take form in order for you, first in order for your conscious mind to understand it. Because while we do hypnosis, the conscious mind is still there. It's just in the background looking. Sometimes it's gonna interfere a bit, but it depends on people. Some people know how to have it out, you know.
That's why, David, I love how you talk about hypnosis. I just want to tell you this, but and also I want to ask you now, how can you distinguish people? Like, so of course people are different. They have different approaches, different experiences. So do you usually do an interpersonal kind of hypnosis session, therapy session, or do you usually do group therapy sessions? Because it's so difficult as a guide, to really to give the same to everyone, since everyone is different and maybe they're there for different reasons. So how do you manage this?
So because symbols and beliefs are very unique to everyone, you know.
Yeah.
It's better to work, but it depends. It's better to work because everything is about your own experience of life. It's better to work individually,
Yeah.
but not necessarily.
Okay.
When I do group sessions,
Yeah.
I tend to be more vague, you know. I don't go so much into this conflict because I don't really know how people are going to react, but I mainly I mainly go towards a positive charge, you know. If I go to a positive charge right away,
Yeah.
we're not going to work on your past, we're not going to work, but I create a vision that is very positive. It doesn't have so much impact because we're not resolving conflict, but we create an image of solution, you know. In
Ecco,
hypnosis and like
yes.
in everything, there is a problem, there is a cure, and there is an outcome. Yeah. So mainly when I do group sessions, I only focus on the outcome. I create a really strong sense of outcome, you know, like embodiment. This is who I want to be. And I have the people being that person during the session. And that creates a lot of change already, you know. But we don't do the cure, the solution, and we don't do the source, the problem so much, you know. I mainly guide towards an icon. It's like it's just visualization basically. I use it because it's safe.
It's very
but
safe.
I'm talking when we do 5%. But but for but for example, for resolution of conflict between people who know each other, sometimes I have people who come together and they are and they want like group, like couples, for example, couples.
Amazing. A relationship.
I believe, yes, and that's amazing because couples also are their own person, you know. Like when you merge with someone, that's my belief. You share, you become an entity, you know. You stay, you are three basically. You are three, you know. There's one, there's the other person, and that's the two of you. That's like the entity that is the two of you, and that's 3%, you know.
Yes.
So so I work on this person, on this entity. I work on this entity. I have the couple going into hypnosis. They usually hypnotize each other, and that's very fascinating. And that's very my own method. I use the same methods to go down, and people start pulling out the imagery of the entity, you know. So it's kind of like an individual session because I work with the entity, not the two of them separate, but they bring things in the middle and they shape it, you know. For example, when I give you an example. For example, if a couple seems they have been separated, you know, it feels that they're not whole, they miss the intimacy, the excitement, you know. I have them both go back to that feeling, and it's engraved into their memory, so they can access it, you know, to that feeling of being intimate, you know, that the arousal of the relationship, and they're gonna express it one after the other, and it's gonna create two entities that are gonna merge together, you know. We're gonna have them merge and go back inside, and that's really powerful, you know, and that's very creative as well. And
so powerful, very tantric, no?
Yeah, very tantric. It's very tantric. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's similar.
And I can imagine you have many examples, but if you want to share an experience about couples that impressed you in your mind, that it was very emotional to have them in front of you, which kind of experience would you say to people? Of course, we don't say
Yes,
we don't have to say it in details, but if you want to share an experience, because couples have many problems nowadays. It has never been so difficult to have a relationship, David, because there is so much happening, and the more we have, the more we want. So as a guide, the spiritual guide that you are, which kind of advice would you give to people that have problems, couples that have problems, to do this hypnosis? Because
hypnosis is very amazing. I had once a couple, and that was amazing. You know, that was it's more about freedom, you know, and you know how at the beginning of a relationship you are very free and you let the other person become free, and after a while it's possible that you enclose the person into cages, you know. So it's like so usually people feel like very restrictive into the relationship. They feel very
so true.
They feel caged, you know. They feel caged, and but that's also a belief, you know. That's also a belief that you're caged, but
maybe it's just in our head, this feeling. Maybe it's not happening for real. It's just our preconcept.
Everything is because you cage yourself, huh? If you feel caged, it's because you let yourself being caged, you know. And that can go far back, you know, but it's not necessarily the other person. And that realization also, and that's what happened, like realization of that person, like being able to free herself on its own, free the other person, you know, because sometimes you feel caged, you feel restricted because you have the feeling that the other person is caged, you know. So
true.
Realizing that that you need to break free in order can free the other person, you know. So then there was a whole symbolism with keys and cages, you know. And this realization is always so empowering, you know, when one person forgive herself, forgive the other person, free herself. And when she freed herself, she went to the other person and freed that person.
Wow.
And freed that person. And that's a whole system of connections that and this system is engraved into the entity, you know. I call it the entity, but it's really how it works, you know. And then you nourish with this entity with new energy. The entity is already a symbol in itself, you know. It's already a metaphor. And when you create an image of this entity very strong into the couple's mind and heart and soul and body, you know, it creates a new synergy without even you necessarily talking about it. You don't with hypnosis, you don't need to talk about your problems, because all we care about is the images and the sensation, you know, because talking is very conscious, it's very analytical, it's very discursive, you know. And we don't want that. We want to create strong, powerful, life-changing, mind-bending images, you know. And with couple, it's always incredible because they take parts of themselves, they put it in the middle, they shape it, but these parts also affect each other, and it becomes like this really nice connection. And that's why love is so amazing, because you create a
bond.
this bond. Yeah, you create this almost another self, you know, another person, you know. Maybe having children is also a metaphor of that, you know,
Yeah, like you
because
said.
there, yeah, you know, it's more, maybe it is an image, it is a symbol of this entity you have between you in the middle, and you materialize it into a child, you know, that embody this love, this bound, and this entity.
See,
And yeah.
yes,
So working with that is very amazing, because you, just the realization that there is this entity, just the same way that just realizing that you have all this world, this unconscious, that everything is symbolic inside of you, creates a change already. It's very empowering. It's very empowering. It gives you the sensation, it materializes it. And when it's materialized, when it's physical, that's how we function as humans, you know. We believe what we see, basically, you know. And hypnosis makes you see what you believe, basically.
pazzesco. I find
It's
it.
like, yeah, I'm gonna write. Yeah, that's the whole
Experience.
philosophy around it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
So fascinating,
Yes,
David.
yes.
And
This
I
whole
can,
experience.
while you talk about it, you make me feel it, and that's a proof of you being a guide in this, because I can really feel it. And David, of course, there are many different examples we could give, but maybe it's not very professional from you. You told me, Franci, I cannot share experiences, so we won't share experiences much. But tell us more, because I want you to say where are based your classes, your practices. So do you do it online? So do you find it easy to do it online, or is it most of the time in real life? So let's explain the differences between online hypnosis and real hypnosis, because
yes. So I live in Tulum now, in Mexico. And, the experience, because we work a lot with the body, it's better to do it. It's better to do it in person, but not really, not because really. I don't really I don't really touch.
Yeah.
I only did testing with the hand, and you know, like, it's nice to be there because I can play also with the body, and that's really hypnotic. That puts you in a trance, you know, because because it's not you let yourself being touched a bit, so it kind of like makes you being more focused on the inside as well, but it also distracts you when usually usually sometimes I just use the hand simply, and I just poke the hand, you know. I just poke the hand, it becomes a trigger, but it gives us an external stimuli, which is very useful, you know. External stimuli are very useful when they're not expected, because it creates surprise. It can also create confusion. Like if I rub the finger and not poke, the person might think, that's also a big that's also a big part of hypnosis. Like, the person might think, why did he rub my finger this time? And all these things create confusion, and why the mind has a big interrogation point. That's where I can give suggestion, and then it creates a breach of consciousness, and where I can get in, you know, and give suggestions, and have the person go down even more, you know. So all these things are very useful, and it's actually kind of magic tricks, you know, like like there's no reason why I rub and touch, you know. There's no reason. The same reason, like, if I ask you if you're right-handed or left-handed, doesn't matter, you know. But the person will think it's important.
Yes.
it's like magician, you know, it's like magician. It
Yes.
creates confusion, surprise. So the person's mind is going to be focused trying to figure out why I did this, while during that I give suggestions for the sessions to happen, you know. It's kind of like it's kind of like
Of a
like
distraction, pure
like
distraction.
yeah, pure distraction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really so with the body it's really good, because usually the person has her eyes closed or his eyes closed and can't really see it coming, you know. It comes like this and it's like and because also the person doesn't like being confused, you know. The person doesn't want to really, the person tries to understand but doesn't really want to understand, you know, because the person doesn't want to get out of this beautiful state that she's getting in and ask me why I did it, you know. So it creates a sort of sense of confusion that have them focus more into the interior of themselves, because they have nowhere else to go around, you know. In this confusion, they have nowhere else to go, so they will go deeper into themselves, you know, to find a bit of more comfort, more relaxation, everything we need, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just how the mind functions.
Absolutely. There are all these little tricks that during this practice are very funny and but at the same time important because they have an effect.
Yes. There are like many tricks. The
Amazing.
language, but everything relies also a lot on the language. You can create a lot of confusion with language. You play on different meaning, you know. You sometimes I bore them to death, you know. You get so bored and the person I tell a story that lasts like 2 minutes, you know, like that has nothing to do with what we're doing, and suddenly I tell them to sleep, you know, and they're gonna sleep because they want to sleep, because what I'm saying is so boring, you know. And
this is another trick.
and you can play with meanings and words. You can it's an art, you know. It's an art.
Absolutely.
With this I can do hypnosis online easily, and that's what I do, you know. That's what I do online.
That's also you've been doing online a lot, but I've been looking at your real practices and they're quite fascinating and amazing. Of course it's different, but I would say that yes, there are little differences, but both can work properly, both hypnosis online and in reality. Amazing.
Yes, totally. And with people,
yeah, and of course you want to get to know the person, you want to know the reason why they want to do an hypnosis, right? Because you want to know how to, or in general, do you just feel it? Do you don't need to know any information? How do you work?
Why they want hypnosis?
Yeah,
why they want to know?
Do you investigate? Do you ask the reasons why they need hypnosis? Or do you usually feel them and just do the hypnosis technique?
Yes. And then at the beginning I started to I don't do it anymore. I don't really ask any questions, because everything the person is going to respond is going to be very conscious, and also it's another trick, but also it kind of relieves them if I ask question, you know. But it doesn't. It creates also a bit of mystery if I don't, you know. And during the sessions, they will always have a moment, the opportunity to express exactly what they want, you know.
Yes.
So I use that. So now I don't ask any more questions. They will usually say right away why they want to do it, and but
amazing.
But I try to keep it as obscure as possible, you know.
Amazing, David. Yes. No, very interesting. Also, let's say the last, because we've been talking since 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Wow, it's crazy.
Wow.
I've talked so much when I start.
No, it's so interesting. I love everything you said. And let's say the last statement to let people understand about hypnosis. Let's say the last thought we can think about it. Something related to hypnosis to tell people.
Also, yeah, hypnosis is it doesn't work only to fix things. It can also be used to augment and to enhance things, you know, to make things even better, to make performances. So it works because it works with negative charge and positive charge, you know, and it's endless. It's endless. If you already feel amazing, you can feel like 10 times as amazing, you know. If you're already an amazing football player, you can become even better, you know. We can augment all these amazing feelings inside of you, you know. There's no limit, and it's not only to fix problems, you know. Yeah.
So I would say that recognizing the value of hypnosis is necessary to prevent old behaviors or thought patterns from invalidating the progress made. So don't think that hypnosis is just an initial process. It is during our growth that it's important because of what we just mentioned. And so each person has his own mental functioning. So we can use this general technique that David uses to cure our problems, but of course we can go deeper if you explain your problems to the guide, as David in this case. So I would say to people that hypnosis is an amazing way of getting out of our troubles, experiencing magic at the same time, because we relax, fun, we are guided, we can discover so much more than we know about ourselves. So it's like the breathing technique, hypnosis, it's very powerful.
Yes. And also what is important is that everyone gets hypnotized all the time. Hypnosis is constant, is always around us. When we talk about it, it happens. When we go to a concert, when we listen to music, everything that alters our consciousness without any drugs, you know, everything that focuses our consciousness into something, everything that triggers our creativity, everything that changes us is hypnosis, you know. So if you realize how it works, you know, if you understand the principle of hypnosis, how it works, you know that it's a pure form of hypnosis, because I do hypnosis, and that's just like relaxation, you know, like yoga is a really, I do yoga, so I relax, you know, but there are like hundreds of different ways to relax also. And hypnosis is the same. Hypnosis is kind of like the yoga of the mind, a bit like meditation. It's like you do it because you understand why you're doing it. You understand exactly its purpose, its power. It's like very straight to the point, but you get into a hypnotic state, and you can cure yourself also by triggering hypnosis while painting, while doing art, while expressing yourself, while going deep into your subconscious to let it out, with sports, with especially martial arts, everything that lets your unconscious express itself can be seen as hypnosis, you know. But it takes many forms, and and proper hypnosis, you know what you're doing while doing it. You know what you're doing, and you can go straight to where you want to go, you know. So it's very effective
and useful.
But then everyone has experienced hypnosis on themselves and other people, you know, which means everyone can do it. It's for everyone, and it's accessible and extremely empowering, and it's connected to every part of your life. So yeah, recommend it. And
please be in touch with our amazing David. I know him apart these amazing practices, and it's really magical, this person in front of me. So please check out
Thanks
all
so much.
our episodes on www.wellnessandwonder.co.uk, and let's be in touch with David. I can try to do a practice with you soon, David. And let's catch up soon for another episode talking about something spiritual, because Wellness and Wonder, as you know, is about spirituality and science, which includes everything basically. So bye everyone, see you soon.